live. No more rapists or child smugglers across our border. No more 400,000 missing children. And no more presidents with dementia. That's a really good thing. That's a positive thing for the country.
Benny, does 17 million fewer Americans with health care feel like America first to you? Does $300 billion worth of less food assistance to Americans feel like America first to you? Does hospital closures in rural America feel like America first to you?
That is friend of the show, Brian Tyler Cohen, debating Benny Johnson.
What's up, guys? Benny?
That Benny Johnson. Welcome, everybody. We have a lot to go over in today's show. We'll pick up where we left off with that debate and review some clips from it. Fascinating happening on Chris Cuomo's show. But I will notify you that the sort of headline of today's show and a big bombshell that Trump dropped and an admission on Epstein. We're going to try something a little bit different today and get to that a little bit later in the show. So we will talk about that. That's what the show's titled around. But I want to start with something different. So many shows have started with that same topic and continue forward with this. But thank you for being here.
Which part of this is all America first?
Again, if you want to look at hospital closures in rural America, you can go look at the Biden family that defrauded an entire chain of
you have to be able to have this conversation
with Florida,
Benny,
and
you have to be able to have this
and it's the only check.
See, but you have to be able to have a conversation without pointing to the last president.
All of those points are controvertible, Brian.
Right, but it's okay that they're controvertible. It's okay that they're controvertible.
Wait, what does that have to do with the point that Brian made? What does that even mean? But that, honestly, for viewers who are supportive of Benny, I guess, will see that and go, oh, yes, something about Biden, F him. Wait, what about what Brian just said? What is, quote unquote, America first, as Benny proclaimed himself to be, about Trump's entire legislative agenda that just got through? That does the things that Brian is talking about. That serves, as much as Benny talks about fighting the elites, that serves the elites and screws over the working class. And that's not even, that sounds so political and partisan to say, but as we've done, you just review the numbers and it's black and white what the bill does. And then Benny starts talking about something, the Biden family and running hospitals or something about hospitals. Try to compare the Biden record on health insurance, leading to a record number of people being insured in the country, versus Trump ripping millions more people off of health insurance than any single bill has done in American history. Then on a different topic, I think this is about Benny Johnson that we covered on yesterday's show, doing this whole narrative about how CNN is trying to spark a race war and is being racist against whites by, at one point early in the news about the New York City tragic shooting, one contributor said, or maybe a couple, that the shooter was possibly white. Possibly. And then we got more information, and then they stopped saying that because that wasn't true. And Benny did this whole thing about how that was CNN being racist, and because early in the fog of a shooting like this, they didn't have every single fact straight. And trying to start a race war. Oh, gosh. Talk about identity politics. They used to say the left was doing that too much. And this is where that conversation picked up.
CNN has a responsibility.
I'm fine with that.
To do
of course, the guy was, the guy didn't hurt anybody else. He was already dead. But CNN wants a race war, and they're begging to get it.
He did kill 5 people. He killed 5 people, right? So
I understand
Police
that he did it, but I'm saying that that's not what it was about. I just feel like this is part of what I'm talking about, Brian, and we've talked about this before. I'm not just targeting Benny. I invited him on the show because I respect his platform, but I do believe
that's a good way to say it. I respect his platform. I don't respect him. I don't respect what he does with that platform, but I respect the fact that he has a large platform.
That you guys are often in the weaponization business. That it's not just that Benny's wrong. Benny's dangerous. It's not just that Brian's wrong. Brian wants to destroy America. And I think it leaks into what we see around us. Brian.
Look, I think what's important here, I mean, just to focus on the issue at hand, I mean, Benny presents himself as somebody who's trying to get to the truth, right? The reality is that he is a purveyor of misinformation and disinformation, and has been for years.
Say it. Bring up Russia, please. Is he gonna do it? Please?
Shamelessly and relentlessly. This guy said that the 2020 election was rigged. He said the 2022 election was rigged. He said the FBI admitted that Mar-a-Lago documents raid was over nothing. He said a deep state cabal engages in predictive programming by showing shows like The Simpsons to announce their satanic plans to the world. And you had Bob Costas on before, and he mentioned the phrase, there's a profit motive, right? And the reality is that's why Benny does it. I mean, Benny benefited to the tune of how many thousands of dollars when a Russian influence campaign, Tenet Media, paid you to say...
Woo! Put the applause on. Come on. Guys, I want to be 70 years old, and I want to be seeing an 80-year-old, I don't know how old he is, but I'm assuming he's probably around a decade older than me, an 80-year-old Benny Johnson. Tiffany Trump should be our next president. And I want to hear an 80-year-old Brian Tyler Cohen, or whoever he's talking to, go, hey, those checks still clearing from Russia? Even though Tenet Media collapsed, the fact that scandal happened, I don't ever want these people to be spoken to again without that being brought up. It just gives, it's not that everything they do is discredited now. It was discredited before, long before. But it's that it adds so much crucial context as to what type of actors would want to support the work that Benny does. You can say whatever you want about Brian Tyler Cohen or me, right? Some people don't even give us a chance because they see the titles, and the titles have to be, right? Or the thumbnails have to be Trump and his face is all orange. But if you actually click on the content, I think Brian, I think myself, so many other than this space, give analysis that has opinions with it. Obviously, we're sharing our opinions, but that at least strives to attach those opinions to some basis in fact. Then there are some people both on the left and the right, and it's particularly bad in this Benny Johnson right-wing media world, that have absolute, and I'm saying there are people like this on the left too, who have absolutely no attachment to the truth at all. And it's just a game. It's just a team sport. And whatever you can say goes, as long as it helps your team. And it is a money grab, and there is very little stress induced in their body as to motivating them to attach things to the truth. And I've met people both on the right, prominent figures, the people I know, you'd never believe how many people I know, both on the right and the left. And I can tell in like a dinner context or a social context or a party, I can tell oh so very clearly the people who actually care, like in their heart, and would be super sad if they accidentally got something wrong, and really want to see change and care about people, versus others. And it's so abundantly clear, and I'm telling you, there are people very big on my side who I've met, who this applies to, who have nothing behind their eyes and are just interested in playing the team sport game. It's what made me sad. Why do I live now very isolated in Austin, Texas, and no longer going to such soirees? For that reason. It depresses me to meet people both on the right and the left who you engage with, and you learn, oh my gosh, this is just a big game to you. You just think it's awesome how famous you can get. That's it. And whatever serves that goal, however many corners you have to cut, lies you have to tell, fine, because at least you have this many subscribers now. And that is a really tough thing to contend with. And what I could tell you is that having met Brian Tyler Cohen, he is not one of those people. He cares, and he does not just care about the change he advocates for, but getting things correctly factually. And that's the difference between him and Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson is one of those people, and probably I have like 8 people in my head that I've met on either side who are the Benny Johnson types. Yeah, there he is.
What's up, best Benny?
When you engage, I've never met him to be clear, but when you engage with someone like him, it becomes so clear that they're not like laying in bed at night going, oh, am I doing the best that I can do? Am I being as honest as I can be? You know, are we going to get through these tough times? It's just a total career fixation. And obviously I care about my career. I want to climb that ladder. But to me, it would feel totally meaningless if I did it in some horrifically dishonest way. Because then what's the cool part about it? Just that you have money or fame? No, the cool part is you attained those things because you're actually doing something worthwhile. Okay, continuing.
Whatever it is that you went out there and said, which is very similar to what you're saying right now, which is that that the Democratic Party is looking to incite a race war against white people. It's the same exact verbiage that you were using then when you were getting paid by the Russians to do it, and that you're using right now. So it's been a long stretch of disinformation.
I get the allegation. Let Benny give a response. Then I want to go to break. I want to keep talking to you guys if you have more time. But Benny, please respond before we go to break.
So first off, on the Russia allegations, the DOJ and Merrick Garland said that there was absolutely no Russian money exchange. We were doing business with an American company. That investigation, as far as I know, is still ongoing. And what you've just said there is defamatory and libelous. Now,
it's not defamatory to say that.
On the question, it absolutely is.
Tenant media.
That's what? Sorry, I was reading comments. What did he say that Merrick Garland said that that's not true? No, that's not what Merrick Garland said. You absolute buffoon. See what I'm saying? I can't tell you for sure if the leadership acknowledged this, but I think everyone acknowledges that the influencers themselves did not know. They were working with a company. And like most companies you work with, you don't necessarily track down where they're being funded from. So they were getting a lot of money. Now they should have been like a red flag should have gone out that they were getting as much money as they were for as little content as they were. But okay, Benny thinks he's the specialist thing ever. So also, Benny, what's this whole subscriber thing? All right, your views have flatlined, but your subscribers went up. Weird. Okay, but. So that's true but the whole indictment was about a foreign influence operation, which is illegal because they weren't identifying themselves as such. Who knows what Benny's saying?
Tenant media paid
absolutely.
You, Tim
It absolutely
Pool,
is
and 2 other
defamatory
people.
And libelous. And Merrick Garland has personally cleared us all of wrongdoing. Myself, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin.
Yes.
But let me ask you a quick question. You're saying that I want to stoke a race war. Well, Zorhan Mandami, who wants to be the mayor of New
Come on.
Zemdami.
Why don't y'all just pronounce anyone's name correctly? Oh, wait, I know, but I can't say it because then I'll be called a hyperbolic liberal. So I don't say those things. But I know why. You know why. Your fans know why. Oh, get it? Zebra and Lamalami? I don't know. Right? Oh, why are you doing that? Oh, what? Oh, I just made an accident. I made a whoopsie. I'm supposedly so smart I can analyze politics, but I'm not smart enough to read letters. Or to do audio memory connection. You hear the name when he says it, and then it comes out your mouth the next time you say it. Is it Kamala still? Oh. But I'm not going to say why. Because then, what? It's 2025. That's not a thing anymore.
New York City and is the odds-on favorite mayor of New York City, Democrat candidate for mayor, says that he wants to tax white people more. Are you in favor of that, Brian?
I don't even know what you're talking about. doesn't even sound real.
Campaign platform. This is wild. This is a campaign
His campaign platform is to tax white people more than non-white people.
What? No. Yes. In the awkward position of defending Zoran Mamdani, I'm going to go to break. But he didn't say tax white people more. He said we have to look to shift the tax burden to whiter neighborhoods that are more affluent and shift the burden from lower income benefits. It didn't play well. Benny's right to jump on it, but I got to correct the record, even though I don't cover the race because my brother's in it. Benny's still hot that you said Russia paid him off when it was Tenet Media. Benny, let's just do this.
Oh, Chris, that was awesome. He's mad that you said Russia paid him off when it was Tenet Media who paid him off. Come on, get it right. And Tenet Media was paid by Russia, so just chill. All right, get your supply chain correct. On the Zoran Mamdani, please, my goodness, thing. This is my point. Mamdani has said a bunch of things in the past of his political activism that, just to be clear, are stupid. But lots of people say that and crazy things. I'll get to the fact-checking the white part. But then his platform is more what you're contending with. You could bring up those old things, ideological, but he did run a platform that I think really compelled people. And it wasn't on some of these old tweets and clips that I've seen of him. It was a little bit more concise. But he did say that we should shift the tax burden to more affluent, as you heard Chris Cuomo fact check, white neighborhoods. Guess what I think he should have said? Let's shift the tax burden to more affluent communities. There's Zoran. So cute. So I don't think that we need to add race to the picture there, to the policy proposal, because you can understand that in New York, the point he made when he got pressed on it was, no, I was just speaking more factually that the neighborhoods that do happen to be more affluent are higher percentage white. But like, why? But that doesn't, but then poor white people in poorer communities should be also not required to pay a large tax burden. So I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's good. I think that racializing things that have no need to be racialized shouldn't be racialized. And the Democratic Party has been hurt by, in some cases, doing that identity game too much. So it's not to ignore when identity plays a role in things, but when you say we need to shift the tax burden to affluent white communities, guess what every headline's going to run with? Not the affluent part. And then you sound crazy. Even if you're saying, well, that's just the makeup of New York City, that's the reality. But the reason you're taxing them more is not because they're white, so why is it relevant? Right? The reason you're taxing them more is because they're more affluent. And this is a broader thing. Just if there are problems, put it on a class basis, and then you're helping everyone correctly, proportional to their economic problems. Both when you're saying specific low-income communities and when you're saying taxing higher-income communities. The race is totally irrelevant to that picture. Please. So it's interesting that, but then, okay, Benny, what's annoying is like, maybe this kind of sounds like, no, Benny's a moron on this because I'm spitting, wants to racialize everything for his ends, which is a part of why I think we should be really strict on our side of not doing that. One person says the shooter's possibly white, and he goes, they're trying to start a race war. They want to kill white people. No. So anyways, Zoran Mamdani should change how he words that. I think it's just totally unhelpful and wrong. And Benny should just retire.
Let's put a point on it so that I can ask you guys about something else. Did you know that Tenet Media got money from Russian operatives that was then used to pay you guys and other commentators? Did you know that, Benny?
No, Chris, and in a full report and a public disclosure by Merrick Garland himself, but also by the FBI, who contacted me and told me that I was the victim of a crime, Merrick Garland cleared all creators and hosts of wrongdoing, including myself, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin, along with other hosts.
Now, I always thought what was interesting about it was...
Okay, I know I'm pausing so much. And again, if you're just jumping on, the headline of this show is about an Epstein Trump bombshell, or Trump admitting something that we're going to get to later. We've just started with that every day, so I want to just take a second before we get back to it. Also, before going further, announcement for our regular morning show viewers. The live stream in the morning is going to be bye-bye next week. So this will be our last week doing this. And instead, we're going to do one weekend live stream every weekend so that we can still engage. Because I love being able to read your comments and talk with you. But just the level of effort for the whole team to do a whole show in the morning and then our normal show and our normal bonus show. I knew that we were at risk of it being a little too hard. And it turned out to be a little bit too difficult to do that amount. So we'll do a weekend live stream so we can hang out with y'all and we can talk and we can read super chats. And then no more morning stream starting next week, but we'll finish out the week for anyone who's made this a part of their morning routine. All right. Denise Portalence said, waiting on my mornings with Beasley. Love you, young man. Sorry. Just if it's become a routine, just turn on our videos in the morning. I'm sorry. I know it's going to be gone next week. Crazy Stuff has been a member for 2 months. Said 2 months, Louis. Thank you for all you that you do to keep us properly informed. Thank you. Morningwood 0906 said, hey, Luke, I don't care what they say. Maybe you're not as cuddly, but you're way cuter, Chris Mowry, with a tongue out emoticon. I'm assuming you meant to say way cuter than, but, you know, Chris Mowry, so cute. So cute. I'll defend your honor, Chris. And wait, but Chris is more cuddly than me? Where do you get off? I'm cuddly as hell, bitch. I'm trying to imagine Chris, who's also a friend of the show. I'm trying to imagine his cuddly characteristics that I don't have. Unbelievable. Miss Lady said, this is my favorite shirt. This one or your shirt? My shirt, probably. That sounds weird. I think I just always recognized it because I was wearing it the night Kamala lost and you were so sad. Wait. I think I got this shirt after Kamala. I don't know. Maybe so. Cheryl said, happy belated birthday, Luke. Sorry I missed it, but I had a family visiting. I wanted to thank you again for getting me back into politics. I wish you many, many more and all the happiness in the world. You never know. We may be calling you President Beasley one day. Wow. Powerful. But thank you so much for that sweet message. Native Naturalist said, Fort Worth native here, and I agree with you. It feels like the political tribalism has only gotten worse in Texas. Keep fighting the good fight. Yeah. And then Rick Gleitzman became a member by clicking the join button. This is one of our last regular morning shows, so become a member if you like the show. And then that'll allow us to do more normal videos on the channel, which will be nice. Yes. Okay. Oh, I'll respond to him saying the victim thing, and then we'll play more of this debate. It's the funniest thing ever. It's my favorite thing, I think, that I've experienced over the last 2 years. You really think about that. Really think about love, friendship, family, birthdays, achievements, other things. And my favorite thing is hearing these influencers say they were victimized by being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know maybe technically that's how they're described because like they didn't know they were in on this scheme, but you can't call yourself a victim when you're being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode. What is he doing with his fingers there? Weird. I think we can just sit down for a second on the you were victimized piece of it all. You were paid, maybe is the word you're looking for. You were embarrassed, so victimized in that sense, maybe because you didn't want people to know how perfectly aligned your values were with Russia. But victimized, I think, is going a little far. All right, back to the debate.
That they thought that the programming that you guys were doing anyway was good to advance the division cause in America that they covet. What do you think of that suggestion?
I was never told once, and never did once, and never will for the rest of my life follow orders from anyone for what I say on my show. I own 100% of my company, and I own 100% of the words that I say.
I agree. I'm saying that's what I always found interesting, that they were willing to pay for you what you wanted to say anyway, because I think they liked the effect of it. But let's talk about how it channels into our daily life.
Can I ask a quick question then, to Benny's point of him owning 100% of the words that he says? I brought up a bunch of lies that you had said before, like the 2020 election was rigged, the 2022 election was rigged, that the Mar-a-Lago raid was over nothing. Do you own all of those lies?
Well, those are opinions.
Those are opinions, and those are...
Chris, opinions can be lies. Chris, let's not take the both sidesism as far as to not being able to acknowledge that saying the elections were rigged is a lie.
My opinions,
that the 2020 election was rigged and the 2022 election was rigged, and that the FBI Mar-a-Lago documents
it could be wrong, but it's still an opinion.
I have sources that in the coming days we're going to find out a great deal about the 2020 election.
Yes!
And we're going to find a considerable amount of criminality out of it.
Better not just be Michael Flynn.
How about...
Better not just be Michael Flynn, Benny. But let me ask you something else, because I believe that we're demonstrating a little bit of the toxicity.
If you're going to allow Brian to continue his line of questioning.
Yes, the 2020 election is going to be exposed in a couple of days. Benny got the sources. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for so many years for this. Benny. Is Trump going to hold another press conference like the other one that he scheduled and then didn't hold to reveal this?
Please, if you would. This was so much fun to ask Brian about Zorhan Mandami wanting to tax whiter people in white neighborhoods more in New York.
Okay, he never said whiter people. He said whiter neighborhoods. I just told you he shouldn't say that. That's wrong. Just put it on the economics, baby. It's so simple. Hi, I'm Luke Beasley. I'm running for mayor. We're going to tax more affluent, gayer communities. No, just put it on the money part, okay? But he didn't say whiter people, which Benny keeps saying. It's like you'll come before the taxation board, and the more close your skin looks to a printer paper, the more you have to pay.
Zorhan Mandami wanting to tax whiter people in white neighborhoods more in New York.
It.
Do you agree with that, Brian?
I clarified
on his campaign website, and he doubled down on it on MSNBC. And I'm shocked that you don't know that. I thought you were somebody who really paid attention to these kind of things.
You're going to ask me if I'm in favor of taxing more affluent communities at a higher rate? Yes. Yeah. I'm of course in favor of taxing wealthier people at a higher rate.
Can you guys both agree?
Very quickly, I'm glad that we got that. Fine, you're entitled to your opinion. I think that it's wrong, and the DOJ.
Why do you talk like you're talking to preschoolers? It's so annoying. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion, but I just want to ask.
I'm glad that we got that. Fine, you're entitled to your opinion. I think that it's wrong. And the DOJ, Harmeet Dillon, who's in charge of the Civil Rights Division, has publicly said that may be racist and may be criminal, but that's okay to admit that, Brian.
Well, then let me ask you about this. Let me ask you this.
Given the last, just really fast, since we're on Zorhan Mandami and Chris can't answer,
on him.
We're asked the question.
I never even talk about him because my brother's running against him, Benny.
Do you believe that in the wake of the shooting in New York that the police should be defunded because he believes that they're not queer enough? Those are his exact words, and he mocked NYPD officers.
Okay, well that one makes sense. Okay, that one I'll defend him on. There's something important. Oh no, I'm going there, baby. I'm going there. There's something important, just cosmically, about having at least 3 queer people on every police force, right? Right? Who's gonna update the police outfits? You know what I mean? Did he say that? The police? I think that he might have said they were anti-queer or something. Again, it's just not everyone can be as consistently reasonable as me. It's tough. So people say things that come off sounding a little wacky.
That they're not queer enough. Those are his exact words. And he mocked NYPD officers crying in their cop cars. Do you agree with that?
Do I agree that we should defund the police? No. Let me ask you a question.
No,
then.
wait, hold on a second. I don't want to hear any more of your questions.
Do you adhere to your words from September of 2024, Benny?
I want to ask a question. Here's why, Brian.
Last one,
no
Chris,
more.
last one.
Brian, here's why.
I promise. This one's a good one.
Brian, it's not a good one. Here's the problem. It'll work. It'll work for the relative assessment of you guys, but I'm telling you, it's killing us. It's killing us because you guys, it's great competitive banter and you're building your own followings and you're formidable, each and all of you as a group. But I'm telling you, it is straining what we are supposed to.
Yeah, it's true to a sense, but it's a little, leave them up. It's a little bit disingenuous, very disingenuous to compare Brian Tyler Cohen and Benny, because what Chris is trying to identify here is that we're in a time where people now, like what I just explained, don't really care about their attachment to truth. They're just fighting for a team. They're just trying to build an audience. And whatever serves that goal goes. But people have different levels of dedication to an honest goal. And I think if you review the evidence shown by the content that Brian Tyler Cohen does, you could say, oh, I don't like how he comes from a liberal perspective, or I don't like this or that. But he definitely attempts at every turn to substantiate his arguments with actual attachment to fact. Benny just doesn't do that. And so we have always had, really think about this, we've always had people of different political ideologies screaming at each other. But it worked, and that's democracy, because we agreed on the foundational facts. So we would sort of say, all right, here's the world, and then let's disagree on where we want to take it. Now it's like we're all looking up at completely different worlds. And some of us are looking up at the actual one, and some of us are looking at very distorted versions of the actual one. And there are people on the left looking at very distorted versions, and people on the right, especially the MAGA echo chamber, is a particularly bad example of this, looking at very distorted versions. And Benny is the worst of the worst with that, where there's zero attachment to the truth. And so that makes it really hard to debate. Brian and Benny shouting at each other, that's not bad inherently. That's fine. That's awesome. Democracy. Let's hash it out. The problem is that Brian is willing to try to contend with these arguments with some level of care for what is actually honest. And someone like Benny doesn't. And so that makes it really tough. And I don't like that Chris is acting like, maybe he's not meaning to do this, but they are two sides of the same coin. There is another side of the Benny coin that's on the left. I won't give you examples, but you know that they're definitely out there, who are as careless about how they speak about things. But Brian Tyler Cohen is not that. He's not that. And he's just a guy like we've always had, and I like to think myself here too, who cares about being truthful, who attaches the things they say to facts, and who has a political opinion. And so they're passionate about it and they'll scream about it. And that's all great. And if we can have a more honest right wing, and then we can oust the more dishonest left wing, we can engage in that dialogue and keep debating. It's fine as long as we agree on basic reality. You can take that down. But very fascinating discussion there. A little bit of economic news. It looks like this is kind of wild. The GDP last quarter bounced back. The U.S. economy expanded sharply in the second quarter as businesses dialed back on imports after stocking up earlier in the year to get ahead of President Donald Trump's tariffs. Gross domestic product, which captures all the goods and services produced in the economy, registered an annualized rate of 3% in the April through June period. That's up sharply from the negative 0.5% rate in the first quarter, which was the first quarterly GDP decline since 2022. Tariff-driven, this seems to be the phenomenon that we're seeing. With Trump's tariff policy, we're just going to be in this really rocky boat situation, and then we're going to have to see over the course of years how this ends up shaking out, because he keeps backing off of things. Businesses have realized, wait, I think our play here is going to be operating as if he's going to chicken out every time. That's probably the best guess. And that's allowed things to be a lot more stable than previously thought, because Trump didn't. This is what, just in case any of your relatives go, wait, if you thought the tariffs were going to be so bad, why has the economy not collapsed? It's like, well, first of all, we didn't predict a collapse. But second of all, we he inherited this really strong economy and then announced a sweeping tariffs that we said these are going to be disastrous, and then immediately reversed all of them, and now still has higher tariffs than normal, but not at all what he had originally proposed. So yeah, him backing off of a lot of his plan serves our argument, which is then things can be more steady than what could have been. But tariff-driven buying frenzies in the beginning of the year have made it difficult to assess the underlying health and direction of the world's largest economy. In the first quarter, surging imports took a toll on economic growth, but that trend reversed in the second quarter as businesses drew from their existing inventories instead of importing, in turn boosting GDP. So you had the prep for the tariffs, all this importing, and then now they're prepared for them, so we get this quarter. Who knows what the next quarter is going to be? Could be any, and who knows what Trump will do. But remember, when they tout successful metrics, like I'll show you Tim Scott in just a little bit, they're literally citing things that Trump got, that he was handed. So you can't make things look really bad for a month, then back off of most of your policies before the long-term effect of them has been able to manifest and say, see, I fixed the economy. No. You temporarily broke it, kind of half fixed it, and now I'm worried the engine's going to fall apart eventually in a few years. But we'll just see. This is the visual of that. Then you have Stephen Ratner saying a lot of economic data this year has shown relatively little reaction to Trump's policies, but consumer spending is decisively weak. This can be a predictor, right? This can give you a sense of what is to come, and you're seeing that since Trump came in office, we're seeing a very significant drop in consumer spending. And then let me show you Tim Scott, who says we should all give Trump credit because unemployment is low, even though it's slightly higher than it was when Trump got the country.
What we've seen so far is inflation's about 2.7%. Our employment almost at full employment, 4.1%. What else do we need to have this economy on fire? We need lower interest rates. Lower interest rates, in my opinion, will drive up wages, and the average person in this country will be much better off. Powell has said that he's still waiting for more information to come in on the tariffs. What we've seen is historic. President Trump was right on tariffs.
No, it's been like 3 months and he's switched them 5 times. So how are we supposed to understand what the impact's going to be at this point in time? Doesn't make any sense. But his quote there, our employment almost at full employment at 4.1%. What else do we need to have this economy on fire? We need lower interest rates. Why do they keep saying that? If the economy's on fire, you don't lower the interest rates. Do you even know what you're talking about, Tim? And what was, do I need to, it was either 4% or 4.1% when Biden left office. So you can't go, Trump's so awesome, when unemployment's literally where it was right whenever Biden left. It's, but they do it.
I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is it's probably, you can make a much more compelling argument. It's the exact opposite. Not even partisan, whatever. Just look at what was handed to Trump and then think, what could he do? What has he done and what could he do to affect these metrics? And the places where he's affected them, it's been bad. The things he's taking credit for were there whenever he took over. Just like the Obama time. And this is not just every single time. It's just looking, I know it sounds so partisan, but go look yourself. Last 3 years of Obama, all the metrics, into the first 3 years of Trump, because we're going to exclude the pandemic because, we can't blame him for that. And then same thing with Biden. Last year of Biden to the first year of Trump. Just look yourself. Damn it. Okay. Miss Lady said it was that shirt. Very interesting. Laura said, I'm actually happy that the morning live stream is going away because I'm a teacher and I have to go back to work next week and I was worried I'd be missing out. No more. And then it'll be on the weekend, so you'll be able to catch it. Rach said 1 weekend and 1 weekday live stream. Pretty pleased with cherry on top. I miss these afternoon streams, or I will miss them. No, 1 weekend. But we're still going to do like 90 minutes of content just publicly on the channel and then the bonus show for members. There's going to be plenty of stuff to watch. Ashley McNaughton became a member. Krista has been a member for 14 months. Wow. Said, get those glasses out. Love you guys. Keep it up. And we're annoyed about the hypocrisy and conspiracy and lack of accountability too. Happy Wednesday. Absolutely. Miss Letty said, that poor host. Mary Teaches Art said, does Luke have a Venmo or something? Now I'm donating to him. BTC, Adam, Dean, and Parker, because this is the future of media. But I know YouTube takes a hefty cut from these. I do have a Venmo, but we don't really accept those. It's fine. Just watch and be a member. That's it. Or just watch. It's all good with me. Oh, actually, drinkpep.com. That's good. Get some pep in your step. Family business. Induce prosperity into your gut microbiome. Playing out with different wordings of this. Have dirty sex with your gut microbiome. Pep. And you can get that delivered straight to ya. That's one way to support. Now for the bombshell. I know 40 minutes to get to the headline of this show, but this is life. Here is Trump saying, presumably referring to Virginia Giuffre, that she was stolen from Mar-a-Lago by Jeffrey Epstein when she was a minor while she was working at Mar-a-Lago, and that's why their friendship ended.
Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. But just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some
of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women? What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President.
So a lot of how Trump has been saying this, and I'll play the last part, doesn't seem to acknowledge on his part that in one of these cases, we're talking about someone who was trafficked, that Epstein met at Mar-a-Lago and then trafficked. And he sounds like he's just saying, I don't know, he was grabbing my workers and it was annoying. He would hire them and then they would go work for him and then we'd have to hire somebody else. They poached my workers. But then a reporter asked specifically about one of the victims that notoriously was taken from Mar-a-Lago or was, met Epstein at Mar-a-Lago and then led to being trafficked.
Did one of those stolen, persons that include Virginia Giuffre?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Quote unquote, he stole her about Virginia Giuffre. Or is it Giuffre? Giuffre, I think. Brian Krasenstein said, here's the actual timeline. 2000, Trump learns Epstein has stole underage Virginia Giuffre from his resort's adult spa. Which, why are minors working in spas at all? 2002, Trump says Epstein is terrific. 2003, Trump sends note to Epstein, may every day be another wonderful secret. And 2007, Epstein indicted and banned from Mar-a-Lago. So quite the bombshell. And he still doesn't seem to be, he's not saying, I caught on to what was happening, which is the aggravating part of this. And that's why I had a problem with Epstein. Because if he knew what was happening, you would imagine he'd have some obligation to alert the authorities. But he was just personally annoyed that Epstein was taking his workers. And I guess he's arguing he didn't know what was happening to Virginia.
In the white.
Then you have Michael Wolff revealing that, according to, he's alleging that his sources have identified that inside the White House, there's a sense that the Ghislaine Maxwell saga or that the Wall Street Journal piece about the letter was a shot across the bow by Ghislaine Maxwell to say, again, this seems a little bit conspiracy, but maybe, to say to Trump, I have stuff, you need to help me out.
White House, they believe that the story in the Wall Street Journal about the birthday greeting that Donald Trump, the salacious birthday greeting that Donald Trump sent Jeffrey Epstein in 2003 on the occasion of his 50th birthday, was a leak from the Maxwell family. And in the White House, they regarded this as, quote, a shot across the bow. So a threat, if that Ghislaine had damaging material on Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's lawyer, who, as it happens, is also the number 2 in the United Justice Department, but principally is Donald Trump's own lawyer, went down, and I expect to try to figure out exactly what Ghislaine Maxwell has, and then they would.
Yeah, that whole thing, his deputy attorney general talking to him is bizarre. So that's the Epstein update. On to something a little bit more lighthearted. Well, I mean, okay, that sounded really terrible. Maybe I won't play that thing and go to something else. Okay, I'll tell you what it was. This is not lighthearted. I feel bad for him. It's just the most Tim Burchett thing ever. Quote, here's the deal. I was kicked by a horse.
Dadgummit.
Yeah, that's Tim Burchett. He's He's a Republican congressman. And I guess he has a broken rib, which is ouchie. It's really brutal. But let's assume he's okay, so that then I can discuss the horse thing. Since everyone's asking, here's the deal, he wrote. And this is Tim. He recently notoriously posted a video saying, all right, since everyone wants this, here's some more donkey videos. And he's just posting video of his donkeys. Here's some more donkey content. Since everyone's asking, here's the deal. On Sunday, I was kicked by a horse. Broke a rib. He didn't like being bit by that horsefly, and my rib was collateral damage. The congressman continued. On Monday, I traveled 3.5 hours to Middle Tennessee, attended 3 events, got back to the farm at 2:30 a.m. Today, I was awake by 6 a.m., traveled to Campbell County, attended 2 events. It's going to take more than a broken rib to slow me down. I sincerely appreciate everyone's concerns and prayers for a quick recovery. Pray for our country. Okay, so he's fine. Being kicked by a horse is one of my greatest fears in life, right? You have like Jaden dying and Cole dying and my mommy and my daddy dying. And then on top of all of those, you have being kicked by a horse. Something is so scary. I wish I could be around horses and not be so petrified. But I remember there's something about an age where you can't tell a kid something because it'll stick with them too much. And I was that age, whatever age that is, 8, 7, I don't know. And I was around a horse. They said, just don't. It was like my cousin said, just don't walk behind the horse because it'll kick you and you'll die, was the wording. And I missed out on all the horse fun.
Dadgummit.
I know. Growing up in Texas, there were a lot of chances. I mean, we were in Austin, so we weren't like riding horses to school like some people ask. But there was like a lot of places around that you could horse ride. And a lot of our friends, a lot of the girls were horse people. And I had a lot of good friends who were horse people. They rode horses, and they would invite me to ride horses. And so then I would be with I would be like, imagine you're 13 and your 13-year-old girlfriend says, come ride horses with me. And you have to figure out how to get out of that without sounding like a wimp, because you're petrified they're going to kick you and you're going to die. So I cannot imagine the tragedy, the fear that Tim Burchett felt while a horse, they're so big. Did you know that? They're big. Kicked him. I like how he said, they didn't like being bitten by the horsefly, and I was the collateral damage. Yeah, and so I don't know. I'm a big, I'm big about not getting kicked by horses. I've stuck to that goal in my life, is just staying away from being kicked by horses. And also, I gotta be honest, they're such beautiful, majestic animals, but I don't love seeing them poop. Like, it just, a lot comes out really fast, and it's a little disturbing. It's just a little bit. Have you seen a horse poop? You've never seen a horse poop? See, he's kind of a little bit more of a metrosexual. He's a little bit more of a city guy. He doesn't know the country like me and Cole. You've seen a horse poop. Yeah. We know hard living a little bit more than Jaden. Okay. I just want to say, speaking of, no, I'm not going to say that. Has anyone ever noticed that Donald Trump Jr. is shaped very weirdly? And I don't mean like any weight. He's a fit guy generally, right? But he's shaped weird. And I feel like, given that no one really comments on that, it's not offensive, because it's not really like, his proportions are strange. Like, let's see, watch this video. Something's off. I can't tell if why is he standing like that? Definitely we could wear a thicker shirt. I think that would help. Like, you just don't want to be, why is it following me? I feel like I'm making eye contact with his, the thing that's on your chest. I don't want to say it. Okay, fine. The guys don't seem to be vibing with that much.
I don't snort cocaine.
I don't know. It's just a shape thing. It's cool. He's great. No, he's not great. But I just think with those dimensions, in a good way, he should be president. Oh my gosh. What if he ran against Hunter Biden and we just said, screw it? We just said, screw it. Okay, this would be his campaign, and then I'll show you Hunter's campaign.
After President Trump steps down, would you consider picking up the reins? Would you run for office?
Here we go. Well, oh boy. Well,
so scary. So utterly scary. Okay, so here we go. Wait, I don't, wait, hold up. Listen, shit. Oh, hold up. Wait. Oh, just take a second here. And then Hunter.
Well, it might be her and Hunter Biden. They could do a joint ticket.
This would be something.
You know what? What the hell? Everything's so messed up right now. Let's just do it. Who cares? I wouldn't put it past Democrats to say, you know what? Run Hunter.
These guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, fuck you. If I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would say, fuck you. Fucking sheer, fucking just grit and will. It's a fucking crime what they're doing. He's a fucking dictator thug. There's something fucked up about that motherfucker.
Oh, so funny. Hunter Biden 2028, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in to CNN for Super Tuesday. Facing off, Donald Trump Jr.
I don't snort cocaine.
With Hunter Biden. Nah, I don't have a clip. Dang it. I should have had a clip ready. There's something effed up about that mother ever. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Angela said, great job, guys. How can I gift a membership? Do you know? I don't really know. It's somewhere in the chat function, right? I mean, there's some look around for things. I don't know. Maria Teaches Art said, I don't do energy drinks, but my coworkers do, so I'll buy some for gifts. Yes, awesome. Thank you. Dennis Smith became a member by clicking the join button. Marie Teaches Art became a member. Thank you so much. J. Thomas 619 said, can we please add Luke doing his Trump impersonation of introducing RFK? They call him Bobby to the soundboard, please. Okay. By the way, since you brought up RFK, am I allowed to do an RFK impression?
McDonald's cheeseburger.
Like, can I do that, or is that offensive? I don't get why. I understand it. I sympathize that he has like a condition, but why is it that I can Trump has like 12 conditions, it seems like, and everyone's fine if I impersonate him. Joe Biden has his problems health-wise, and I impersonate him all the time, and it's fine. But I feel like if I did that thing, what is it?
McDonald's cheeseburger.
Or what about the other one that we have?
I started doing it when I went to the top of my class.
I just think someone would say I'm mocking the condition, which I wouldn't be. I would be imitating it while I'm mocking him, but not mocking because we sympathize with any of those sorts of things. I don't know. Bilbo says, hey, Luke is adorable and I assume cuddly. Okay. Thank you, Bilbo. Goodness gracious. Well, let's just keep going, why don't we? This is weird. Jesse Waters is so obsessed with calling Trump daddy.
Europe called him daddy, and daddy just gave him a spanking. And now they're worried about daddy's mood swings. Daddy hates leaks in the house. The question is, who's daddy going to negotiate with? So did daddy do it, or did daddy do it? Trump is politically jacked. Trump golfs. He has dad strength, though. You know dad strength? He doesn't look like he's in shape, but when he grabs you, one time my father grabbed me and I was like, oh my God, this guy's stronger than I am. That doesn't mean I have a homosexual crush on them. I'm just saying I appreciate their acting skills. Very strong heterosexual credentials. Real men don't talk about how they can beat other guys up. They don't talk about how masculine they are.
So this is from Midas Touch, a Jesse Waters concerned with manhood compilation.
Don't wave simultaneously with both hands.
No.
We wave with one hand. Primetime would wish him a happy birthday, but we have rules here. Men don't wish men happy birthdays. Men should never cross their legs. What kind of man takes a bubble bath? Stephen Miller, should grown men be taking bubble baths? Men don't wish other men happy birthday. What do you notice? Doug's breaking the rules. He's leaning in, like Barack leans into Michelle. Men should never lean. What kind of husband goes grocery shopping with his wife? This guy, Tampon, lets his wife order for him at dinner. Men should not move this way. It's not the way we move. But Tim says he's a man's man, even if he uses a straw. Women love masculinity, and women do not love Tim Walz. So that should just tell you about how masculine Tim Walz is. The other day, you saw him with a vanilla ice cream shake. Had a straw in it. Oh. Again, that tells you everything. There's nothing.
How are you supposed to eat a milkshake without a straw? Is that how you're supposed to do it? Like it would be dumping out on your face. Like, is that instead of just... I don't understand why they're laughing so hard, but is that how you're supposed to drink a milkshake? Is like out of the glass? What? They're just giggling away. I'm asking a genuine question. Huh.
Not manly about wearing white jeans. And I say this with a unblemished record of heterosexuality. He looks good. I think he's fine. I don't need to know what pills he's taking or what he's not taking. He looks great. Hoax alert, new hoax alert. Woo, woo. I am not wearing lip gloss, lipstick, lip liner, anything on my lips. I think it's because I'm just so tan, and the contrast with my lips may have been a little chapped because I work out so much. Every time he does this, I'm...
All right, I get the point. I get it. I just think we need to stop analyzing that hard. Like, I feel like you're just kind of weird if you're constantly being like, men don't do this, men do this, men don't do this, men don't drink out of a straw. All right, speaking of people who... Speaking of men who aren't men, I don't know. Speaking of men, something about a man.
Because when you own as many libs as I do, you got to put a place to put them all.
Yes, Scott Jennings got asked during a PBD appearance why, this is the CNN guy, why he went from being much more rational and criticizing Trump a lot to kissing Trump's butt all of the time.
I voted Republican my whole life, and I did vote for him 3 times. But like everybody else, I didn't get it. I mean, I've readily admit I did not get it. I did not understand it. I did not get how this guy who hadn't been a Republican was coming along to take over the Republican Party. I did not get it. And so over time, I began to realize what he was doing, and I also began to realize the choice. And, in 2024, for me, there was Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, the idea of common sense versus whatever it is she was selling. And so plus his oh
gosh. What, you haven't made the case for him being common sense. You were the one who said maybe he should resign or they should 14th Amendment because of his disgraceful actions on January 6th. And then all of a sudden you're saying he's the common sense guy. But there's a broader thing here where people go, I just got swept up, and like what he was arguing was, I didn't realize what was coming. But that's kind of says something about you, that you're saying you went from really thinking Trump was terrible, Trump didn't really change, to thinking he's great. But the way you word it is, I just had no idea that he was really what he was going to be in the party. It's like, yeah, because you don't really have a clear set of principles, obviously. It's really hard for someone at his age to go from this guy's bad and trouble and disgraced all the way to king, I love him. And that represents that you're blowing in the wind a little bit too much. It's not that you can't change your point of view, but even he doesn't bring up that, I just found out that actually Trump stood for this principle I have or this principle, and I didn't know that. It's more just, I didn't realize he was going to become the phenomenon that he did. So at one point he says, I had this knee-jerk opposition because he was different. I'm like, well, that's what you're going off of? That simple of instincts as opposed to actually analyzing if the person aligns with your principles or not? Strange. Jane's telling me that we had a 2-second outage during the Michael Wolff clip, which caused a cutout. So if you notice that.
Probably afterwards, we'll just have to splice the two together, and it'll get all sorted out. So if it disappears for a couple seconds following the stream, the replay will be available very shortly. It's not gone.
Okay, well, on that note, we are going to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.